Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and especially you nephew, welcome back to another Riftbound video. And today we have for you another deck gameplay video with the legend Volibear. Now, this deck is, y'all know at this point, I don't make competitive decks. I don't find I have the most fun trying to make the most competitive deck. I always want to make the most fun deck, and I leaked it a little bit in the earlier video about what this deck was going to be about. But before we get into that deck list and showing y'all the game plan behind it, thank you all so much for the support. I appreciate it so much. We're 8 subscribers away from at the time of this recording from 100 subscribers, so I would appreciate it so much, so much, so much if you guys could subscribe. If you aren't already, like the video and share with other people who are learning Riftbound, um, whether competitively or non-competitively. That's what this channel is for. But with that being said, let's jump into this deck list. So, Volibear, the Relentless Storm. His effect is, when you play a mighty unit, you may exhaust me to channel one rune exhausted. As a mighty unit, or a mighty unit. What happened to my reading ability? A unit is mighty when it has 5 or more might. Um, so that'll be this effect or this number at the top right of the card. And since we're over here, let's just talk about it. Our chosen champion is this Volibear Furious. He actually isn't too crazy in this deck. I think the orange Volibear is probably a better fit if I were to change this deck around, but this is what we were running for today's games. Yes, games. We have 2 games for you today against the Kaisa. And guys, quick spoiler alert: we did beat a Kaisa. We did lose the first time, but we did end up beating the Kaisa. So, yeah, maybe it's more competitive than I think. But this Volibear effect is it's a 10 cost 2 recycle. It has deflect 2, and then when I attack, deal 5 damage split among any number of units here. So, not excuse me, not too crazy of a card. I believe the other Volibears like whenever your opponent moves to a different battlefield than where he is, you draw a card. Um, and it's just much tankier in might, so this more than likely will be changed soon. Um, but that is the chosen champion that we used for today's video. For our spells, oh, you guys are going to see it. You guys are going to see the sauce. But for our spells, let's go over those first. We have Confront. Units you play this turn enter ready, and you draw one. It's pretty good to get a surprise attack in on your opponent. Challenge. Choose a friendly unit and an enemy unit. They deal their mights equal to each other. Normally we have the stronger mighted cards, so it's easier for us to get better value out of a card like this, where we are dealing mights to each other, so we will stack damage onto our cards. But with cards that are 10 might, 9 might, even these 5 might cards are fairly strong in the early game, but this sort of works as a pseudo removal. Primal Strength action, you give a unit +7 this turn, +7 might this turn. Very strong on both defense and offense, to boost your cards up and winning your battles. Especially because a lot of the times in this deck build specifically, your units are defending or attacking alone because they cost such high cost. This 9/5/9 5, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Next we have Sky Splitter. This is pretty standard for a Volibear deck. This spell's energy cost is reduced by the highest might among units you control. Deal 5 to a unit at a battlefield. So this is just a in this deck, very, very, very cheap 5 damage spell. Like this gets it out for free. This gets it out for free. These reduce it by 5, so that'll be a 3 and a recycle for dealing 5 damage. So that at that point it's pretty standard. But if you can high roll it with one of these on your board, and this is just free, very, very good to get rid of important or annoying things in your way. Mobilize, just a little bit of ramp. Might drop this down to a 2 of. I don't think I need 3 of these, but ramping isn't always too bad, especially when we get to it. And then a little bit more ramp here. This I might drop completely. Actually, if I drop these completely, these will probably stay at a 3. But I don't know. Maybe it's just in this deck testing where I drew these too late. But yeah, these are just our ramp cards. Channel a rune if you can't draw one. Channel 2 runes if you couldn't. Channel 2, draw one. Now, to the meat and potatoes, the units. Now we got to go over these units in the right order. First, let's get the staples out the way. First mate, when you play me, ready another unit. Pretty much a staple in every orange deck or body deck. Brazen Buccaneer, when you play me, you may discard a card to reduce him by 2. So this just helps you on if you draw this early curve on your second turn, you can play this out, and it's a 5-might unit, so you'll actually trigger your Volibear ability, and it does not recycle a rune, which is very important. So in this case, you would just be ramping instead of cycling through. Now, let's get into the sauce. Herald of Scales. I've talked about this card so many times when I pulled it on the opening. I just think it's so cool to have like a cohesive idea in your deck, and so this deck is all about dragons. This Herald of Scales card is your dragon's energy costs are reduced by 2 to a minimum of 1. Yeah. So this is a 7 if you have 1 on the board. This is a 3. This is a 3. This is a 4. This is a 7 as well. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of dragon cards in the game yet. I assume there will be more coming. But I don't know for sure. I don't want to say that for sure and no other dragons come. And you guys like invest hard into this and then there's no other dragons. Don't. I am not a prophet. But I just, when I read this card, I was like, I gotta build a dragons deck. Since that this is a body card, it can only go into body leaders. I was just checking through the leaders, which had the best dragons. I think it was, I think the only other dragon card is like a purple one. But it's only one of them. So the only other deck it could have went into is this red and orange deck with Volibear. And these dragons are all, or not all, only one of them aren't a mighty card. But this one triggers his ability, this one triggers his ability, this one triggers his ability, this one triggers his ability. So only one of the dragons here do not trigger his ability. And that's why I'm only running two of them. But he is important, which we'll get to in a second. So that's the idea behind this deck. Let's go over Mountain Drake because this is just a 9/10 vanilla. No effect, but if you have this out early in the turn, this also does not recycle runes. So you get this out, say if you're on your 5 rune turn, get this out on your 5 rune turn, leave one up. Next turn you'll have 7 and you could play out a 10 mighty unit. Absolutely just terrifying to your opponent if you get this out early. Let alone if you get 2 of these on board, these Heralds of Scales on boards, they do stack, it says, to a minimum of 1. So these will go down to 1. These 2 here, but this will go down to a, let me do math, Jesus Christ, Donovan, 5. So 5/10 is absolutely ridiculous. 5/9, absolutely ridiculous. And this one also does not recycle runes, so this is just pure ramp with your deck. But yeah, Doomdrake, you guys seen this before, but it says when I attack, give me +2 if there is a ready enemy unit there. I forgot about that ready part until I reread the card in the game, but it's a very important distinction. It has to be ready, which after reading it sort of helps with this deck. 5 and 4 are very close in runes, especially when you're going up, when you start at 2 or 3 and are going up 2 at a time. If both of these are in your hand, it feels sort of awkward playing this playing the Herald of Scales over the Doomdrake. But doing it this way allows your opponent to have their units be ready if they are holding a point and get a little bit ahead. But this deck has things to get around your opponent being ahead. and that is the large body units here. Next, we have Blazing Scorcher. You've also seen this before. A 5/5 unit, but it has Accelerate, so you can pay 1 extra and recycle a red rune to have them come out active. Again, can be reduced by Herald of Scales, so 3/5. You can pay 4 and recycle 1 to have them come out active. Really, really crazy. Really, really crazy card in the combo. Keldrin the Infernal, I think that's how you say his name. When you play me, draw 1 for each of your mighty units. So this one is also just really good in a deck like this where you are playing a lot of mighty units. And that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 targets that will trigger his effect when you play him. And he is a dragon, so he can be, his cost does get reduction. Our last dragon in the deck is Mount Targon, or that's the place, Donovan. Good lord, it's too late for me. It's only 9 o'clock. It's not even that late, Donovan. Lock in. Raging Firebrand. When you play me, the next spell you play this turn costs 5 less. So, if you guys were keeping track, boom, Sky Splitter. So this would reduce it by 4, but its effect will reduce it by 5. So this will essentially become free on the turn that you play the Raging Firebrand. It's a neat little combo. It's nothing too crazy, but we also aren't running that many large spells. If you could completely combo it, you can confront into Raging Firebrand into Primal Strength. So this becomes a what's that? 11 might unit that comes out active just for the turn with this Primal Strength, and then surprising your opponent with that. And our final unit for the deck is this Brynhir Thundersong. Definitely did not say that right. These names are beating me today. But it says, when you play me, opponents cannot play cards this turn. This is absolutely amazing in Kaisa matchups. Oh man, both the games, this card just felt perfect. It's exactly what I wanted it to do. They left up tons of runes, and I'm like, I'm not letting you play with those when I'm trying to make my moves. When especially because this deck is a lot of setup, you don't want to set up all these large mighty units and then they just get action comboed to death by somebody with high removal. So you play this before making any moves, and then you're free to really just roam around anywhere because your units are 10 might, 9 might, sometimes 7, 5, 5, 4, all really strong units. Also cards like Primal Strength, like I said, to buff them up a bit further. Okay. I was just rereading that card. So the rune split is 8 fury and 4 bodies. We aren't recycling a lot of body runes. I think, yeah, we're only recycling 2 here. This might change when I change the Volibear champion unit. It might go maybe the exact opposite, or maybe a 7 and 5, 7 body, 5 fury runes, because this does still require 2 red recycles. You don't want to be lost without, but I think that's the only this got 2, so 3 cards. Yeah, this might change later, but that doesn't really matter. Our battlefields, our chosen battlefields is Aspirant Climb. Like I said, this deck takes a lot of setup, so you want to extend the game a little bit further. And then you have Sigil of the Storm. When you conquer here, recycle 1 of your runes. This is a battlefield with a negative effect, but with a deck like ours where we're playing a lot of mighty units, we get those runes right back. It's more of a negative effect for your opponent than it is for you. And then Obelisk of Power at the start of each player's beginning phase, that player channels 1 rune. So this is just a little extra ramp. I didn't get to test these 2, unfortunately. We did roll for our battlefields, and I got Sigil of the Storm twice. But yeah, with that being said, let's jump into the gameplay. Have it at 2 times speed because we got 2 videos for you today. and let's jump into it. Okay, yeah, so we're rolling for turn. Got a 2 and a 4. Um, and then I take second here because literally because I forgot that the scale Herald of Scales card cost 4. I thought it cost 3 on my first game. Then I draw it eventually. And I'm like, oh, that's a 4 cost unit. So I should have taken first. Um, yeah, I definitely thought that that cost 3. But I do have the first mate to at least get a unit on board. Maybe that wasn't worth it. Maybe I should have saved him so I can activate one of my units early, but I would rather have one on the board currently just to fit the curve, and I didn't really have any other plays this turn. If I had like a ramp card in hand, I probably would have used that, um, like a mobilize, use two runes to ramp those. And yeah, so our opponent was a little bit new to the game, so we were going back and forth on back and forth sounds bad. We were talking about the rules and just explaining things up about how the game works. So he was just asking what the little symbols means for her accelerate cost. But we should get into it here. So they move their Ravenloom student to Targon's Peak, which allows them to stand up 2 at the end of their turn. And then they pass it eventually. They misread the card at first, but now it's our turn now, or it should be our turn now. So we draw into the Buccaneer, and I'm like, look, I came to play dragons. So this is one of those things where I was talking about. I was like, I can't play the Doomdrake here just to have him set up, but it just really wasn't worth it. Um, and then I gotta sort of teach them about passing priority. So I was leaving the Herald of Scales in the base because there's less likely of a chance for her to get sniped in the base. It is the best place to put her. I think it's alright. It looked like a woman in the picture. Um, but in a Kaisa deck with red and blue, they do have ways to get into my base, which is unfortunate. But it's still a great place to put her to at least force them to draw those specific cards that can attack or that can damage your opponent's base. But yeah, so now, yep, I have my what you call it? I have my dragons reduced. Unfortunately, I did have to recycle a rune because I conquered the sigil, the storm sigil. I forget the name of that thing. To So I had to recycle one, so I don't go to 7 this turn, unfortunately. So I can't play out the Infernus. I think that's what his name was. But nor do I want to because I don't have any mighty units on the board. I'll have to play one out first. So they get their points. They get their hold point. I believe they just forgot to get it at the beginning of their turn. And now I have my combo to play. So I play out the Confront so that the units I play enter ready, and then tap 3 to play out the Doomdrake untapped. And now I can attack in, and because he's active, he'll go up to 7 into 2. So I don't think there are a lot of spells that can absolutely kill a 7 might unit with only 3 runes. They accidentally play Cleave, but I think they read it and then realized that it's only on attack. I also use the Volibear ability, so I get to gain a rune Rested. So now I'm back on top of my curve, but my dragons are still cheap. You might think at this point it's not really worth having cheap dragons, but it really is. I promise you, the stacking is very strong because the next card I want to play is the Thunder Song to stop them from playing spells on my turn. And so if I can get that dragon down to a what is it, 5, absolutely beautiful. And we just drew into another 3 three dragon, or currently three costed dragon. So I retreat my dragon after getting my whole point to play another Herald of Scales, and then that reduces him down to one, and this down to five, like I said. So I play him for one, and then I think I just pass here with four runes up, sort of baiting my opponent to thinking I don't have anything. Maybe it was smarter just to play the Infernus right now, only getting one draw trigger, but just letting it pass. Especially because I think they draw into the nuts this turn, unfortunately. So they move these two to the battlefield, and just letting them know that they got it. I don't have anything in hand. And then yeah, and then they ask if they can react to their own spell. They can. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, it's essentially just playing the stupefy first. The reaction here doesn't matter that much. But they do kill off both of my Herald of Scales with the Falling Star, which does exactly 3 damage to a unit twice, which is the might of my my units here. So yeah, you see my mouse tweak out here because oh boy, look at the play I could have had if they didn't have it. So um this is reducing by 4 currently, and I had 4 up. I probably, if I drew into this one card a turn earlier, it would have been so beautiful. But I have it now, the Mountain Drake, and you see my frustration in the mouse. So I just tap 6 to play the Thunder Song, so that my opponent cannot play um, uh, 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 cards this turn. So this just stops Kaisa from doing everything she wants to do. So this Stupefy, no more. So I was just putting him back on the stack just to show his effect again. And then he sees it. So Kaisa's gone. He tried to retreat her. No, she dies. And she only conquered once. So it's really good for me. This is one of the important things I was talking about. Both of their units are rested. They haven't become active yet. So I do stay at a 5. So I will trade here, unfortunately. And then I forget to do my ability, um, Volibear's ability, um, there. I think I remember at some point. Um, yeah, there it is. So I gain 1 tapped. And then I have to reread the card because you only get that once. You become exhausted. But they're doing stuff over there, and I'm focusing the wrong thing. So I play this Brazen Buccaneer, discarding the Mountain Drake because I don't really see a turn to use it right now. It's just a vanilla 9/10. It's a strong card, but at this point in the game, I need to catch up in points. They're already at 6, and I'm at 4 because I let them hold for so long. But uh, uh, this is I need to develop more units so I can be able to clear their units essentially. So I discard the Mountain Drake to play him out for 4, leaving 1 up. I still have the whatchamacallit in hand, Infernus in hand, and they play out a Darius. I didn't notice this before, but they were tapping their leader ability for the Darius recycle, which is not how the leader works. Their leader only works for spells, but they end up. Oh, there's the recycle. Well, no, that was for the battlefield. So that should have been 2 recycles actually on that turn, but it's fine. So I tap 9 here. I mess up here. I mess up here. Um, I do draw 2 because I have 2 mighty units. And then I tap Volibear for his effect and gain a rune back. But what I should have done, what would have been smarter, is to move the one of these units to Targon's Peak first, then play this Infernus, reinforcing it, making it harder to get into, and then do what I'm about to do, which is play the challenge. Yeah, tap 2 to play the challenge, and then I was trying to figure out the arrows in this game. So I choose the units that I want to fight, and it's these two. So 9 into 5. I'll kill them. I'll take 5 damage. But they do have the retreat, so they do get to take the Darius back into hand, which is really good for them because that's essentially just another active unit that they play um, on their next turn. Um, so, but now I am forced at uh, uh, yeah, only 5 here, passing prio, and then 5 at the other one, which really sucks because they didn't have anything, or at least maybe they did, and that one for the retreat means that they couldn't do anything for 3 runes, but I still think that would have been a better play just to see, because now, well, you'll see. Um, so it is 6 to 7. They do need to conquer both battlefields to win, because they are at game point. So I'm crossing my fingers, just hoping that they don't have anything crazy. If they have 2 Dariuses in hand, though, that's crazy because they both will become active and they both will be at 7 might, and I just can't do anything about it. Because if I had 1 extra standing rune, I would have had my primal strength available to defend from one of these attacks. Um, I think I notice it here, and I let them know that it's only for spells. You can only tap Kai'Sa for spells. Um, um, but they do attack in with 7, and they use a Hex Tech Ray to deal 3. Um, and then I die. I was just checking if Mobilize was a action or reaction card. It is not. Um, and then I was letting them know that they draw here. I don't know if they drew their win condition here. Maybe I just shouldn't have reminded them, but I'm too nice for my own good. Um, but yeah, I was letting them know that it's game point, so they draw when they conquer instead of winning. They need to win both before they win. So they draw here, and then they play the cleave to give him +3, so he goes up to 5. But they'll trade, and then they have a stupefy in hand to give him a -1, so they don't end up trading. They just win out 5 to 4 here, and then they conquer both, and that's GG. So, like I said, if I had moved one of my units there beforehand, and then played the whatchamacallit here. Um, what is his name? I don't know his name. Infernus to this battlefield, and just had that would have been possible for my opponent. Um, but I didn't see it. I don't even know if the next draw would have saved me. I don't think so. I would need to draw into a confront, and then the confront needed to draw me into a unit that was strong enough to beat the Darius here. Actually, no, I would have just needed to draw into a confront and then played the Volibear for my champion zone. But I don't think I had it. I think that's just it. GG's. I should have checked, but I wasn't thinking like that. Just typing GG's, and yeah, then I stopped the recording. So, Kai'Sa, Kai'Sa's still a strong deck, but we do get a little lucky here. So we rematch, re-roll for our battlefields. This time I do take first, and this is what I have. So I have mobilized, which is good here. This is why the ramp is still good, because I took first. I was on a 2-4-6 curve, but I did mulligan this hand, by the way. I mulliganed one of these away, and I drew into the second one that I had in the deck. Um, but because I'm on an even curve, I won't have a unit to play until turn 3. So that's why this mobilize is still good here, because that puts me on the odd curve, getting me up to 3. Then on my next turn, I'll have 5 to play this Doomdrake. So the ramp is still good in this deck, and it's not completely just like you better draw into the Herald of Scales. So I find my removal this turn for this game, going up another rune. Yeah, my opponent was just asking about the spells. And so I'm just trying to drop as much knowledge as I can. Orange has most of the ramp in the game. So I do draw into the Herald Scales, and this is exactly what I want. Herald Scales reducing it by 2. So on my next turn, I have my Confront combo once again. If I needed to use it, I don't think so because it's just a Pouty Portal currently. And yeah, my opponent was like, the Drakes and Dragons are so cool. And I was like, yeah, they are, but it's just not enough of them. I need a full-on dragon build. I can't wait. I can't wait till the second set comes out. I accidentally pull up the news tab. But yeah, I can't wait till the second set comes out. Hopefully they add more Drakes and Dragons to throw into this deck. Because that'll be so much fun. But yeah, they accelerate their Kaisa out, paying the extra cost and recycling to conquer and draw. Going to Reaver's Row, which allows them to retreat. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So I top deck, I top deck the Mountain Drake. So I'm checking. I'm like, there's no way that this works, but it does. It just works. I top deck the Mountain Drake. It's reduced by 2, so it's literally cost me 7. So, um, yeah, I'm so excited. I just throw it out. Um, uh, uh, so I throw out the Mountain Drake for 7, and as soon as he was like, "Yeah, stacking them seems really strong," I was like, "Yeah, how's this 7-10?" um, so I don't do the confront combo, but at least he's set up for next turn. I'll allow him to get this hold point. I forget to mark my points here, and then I ramp for a Volibear effect. Um, with the battlefield, I really don't ramp. I just stay stagnant. He does retreat the Kaisa. It's probably because I just dropped a 10 bomb to the field, which was smart. I would have boomed that Kaisa with the Sky Splitter as soon as my turn became active, and if she was still on there. Um, and so I play the Dune Drake to the battlefield, and then retreat the Herald of Scales back, just to keep her a bit more protected, forcing them to draw into their backline damager again. And then I move the Mountain Drake into Reaver's Row, making it really, really safe for him. One, they will have to commit a lot of might to attack into there. Um, and I still have the option to retreat it, saving it for that turn. Um, uh, and then I was telling him that I did not conquer. I only just switched them out. That's only on conquer where you have to recycle. Um, did I gain an extra rune? I think I missed it. Yeah, I should be at 10. Because I played out that Mountain Drake. I forgot to Volibear effect. That's my fault. But I got 6 standing. I have the Primal Rage in hand, so there's no way they can attack into me and plan on winning. Even with this play, they uh, they play the Thousand Tail Watcher. I wasn't paying attention here. Um, if I was, I wouldn't have did this. So they play the Thousand Tail Watcher, um, which reduces all of my cards by 3 down to 1. And then they move in with 8 might against 7. Um, my dumb self was like, oh, Thousand Tail Watcher has accelerate. It came in active. So I was like, okay, then let me just save my Primal Rage for um, because the Mountain Drake will live no matter what. I can retreat it with Reaver's Row. Instead of using the Primal Rage on the Mountain Drake, let me just retreat it and just save the Primal Rage for the Dune Drake so that he will get +7, thus killing the Thousand Tail Watcher when it comes in because it's active, right? I just wasn't looking. I straight up wasn't looking. I retreated because of the effect, and I say wait, but then I was like, never mind, never mind. Just let him have it. Just let him have it. Um, I'll play with my mistakes. Um, it's fine. Uh, because actually. Would I? So that was down to 7. I would have added 7, so I would have went to 14. Yeah, yeah. There's no way that they could have done anything more. They were tapped out anyways. So yeah, now I draw into this crystal of aeons, and it's really late now. But this is what I was talking about. I have a 10 might unit on the field, so that cost me 0. So I float one and recycle it for its cost. for Sky Splitter. And then I'm just letting them know it costs less because of the Mountain Drake. So I boom the Kai'Sa with the Sky Splitter. So it was coming either way. And then I can move this Mountain Drake back, forcing them to retreat. They do put it in the trash, and I let them know about the battlefield effect, that it can't go to the space. Um, and then I don't know what I do here. Oh, right. I set up my Volibear. Um, yeah, so I take the conquer point, or I take the hold point now. I forgot to take in the beginning of the turn, and retreat the Doomdrake, and just play out my Volibear, setting up for next turn. I'm ahead now. I know my Mountain Drake more than likely won't die, unless they use a bunch of spells to deal 10 damage to him while he's at the battlefield. If not, if they try to attack into it, I'll just retreat into my base. They do play a Falling Star, getting rid of my Herald of Scales, but that's fine. I don't have any dragons in hand anyways. And then they move the Thousand Tail Watcher into the battlefield, um, and uh, and then I retreat it with Reaver's Row ability. Um, like I said, so they do gain the point, and they will go ahead of me going to 6. But I'm going to take these right back, and there's quite literally less than much that my opponent can do about this. I do draw into another Sky Splitter, but it's only 5 damage, so I won't be able to kill the Thousand Tail Watcher. Um, so I just save it in hand for a rainy day. My Drake will be back to 10. And now I really just want to gain both battlefields and hold. And once again, they left 5 runes up, so I was like, it's time to play the Thunder Song. You can't play anything on my turn, not this time, buddy. So I gain a rested rune back. Volibear, moving the Volibear forward to to fight him. They'll die, and then I moved them one at a time because I didn't know where I wanted to reinforce both of these at. Um, but I attacked into the Thousand Tail Watcher with the Mountain Drake. They retreated back to base, and I realized, Mountain Drake is 10, Volibear is just 9, so let's just put the two lower mighty units together, and then the highest mighty unit alone. I am sitting on 5, so I still have my primal strength, and then they play Ecathian Rain. Now, I believe this does start a stack, so I should be able to, or no, I forgot. I believe this starts a stack, but I don't know if I'm able to play actions to this stack. I don't know if it's actions or reactions. I didn't know for sure, so I just didn't play the primal strength here. If I did play the primal strength here, I would essentially just save one of my units. They target the Volibear at first, but they end up changing that later because my Volibear has Deflect 2, and this card is written in a very specific way. It says do this 6 times, deal 2 to a unit. So because the 6 times trigger is choosing the unit, it would mean that they have to recycle 2 every time they choose the Volibear. Um, Absolutely ridiculous. If it was like choose a unit and uh, like choose, if it was worded differently, if it was like choose a unit once and then deal this 6 times or do this 6 times, then it would you only need to pay it once. But because you're repeatedly choosing that unit, you have to recycle more and more and more. So they go back on it, and then target my Mountain Drake, which I believe is the better play anyways, to at least make them get a point here. And then I currently don't have anything in my hand that would actually, I do have the primal strength that would allow me to win the game. But from what they see, there isn't much that I can kill their thousand tail watcher with, because my unit at my base is only 5. So killing the Mountain Drake here is the correct move. If they just moved the Thousand Tail Watcher back, I would have just retreated it back to my base and then attacked in for 10 on my upkeep, or on my next turn. Not my upkeep, but Um, they're trying to stack this damage up, but it's just not enough. My units are literally too strong. They stacked 5 damage on the Volibear. They had to use 10 of their 12 damage on one unit, and then they split the damage here. Um, and yeah, they recycled all the way down to one rune, um, and this is also very important. These spells only deal health damage. It's not reducing my might. So my units will die here. So I don't get the whole point to win, which smart on my opponent. That stopped me from winning the game instantly, especially because I only have one unit on the board. But my might still remains. So the total might will still go into a Thousand Tail Watcher. So they will trade. Um, and a Thousand Tail Watcher will die, which does push my opponent back to essentially an unwinnable point. They'll go up to 3 runes in the next turn, and have no units on board. So it pretty much is GG's. But we play it all out for the for the sake of it. I draw into another confront, and that works for me because I draw into a Brazen Buccaneer, so now I can just pay for discard 1, and they come out active, so I gain a point, or I don't gain a point there, I just draw, and then I conquer the other one and win the game. So yeah, GG's to my opponent once again. And if I didn't draw into a Brazen Buccaneer, I would just play another confront, hopefully drawing into something cheap. This Brazen Buccaneer did save or completely win the game for me there, on this turn, but I doubt that there was anything the Kai'Sa player could have done at that point of the game, to get rid of my Thunder Song, because I have Primal Strength in hand. That one just adds 7 might. There's very few, almost non-existent, or just actually, yeah, there's actually no way for them to have done 7 plus 5 might. What's that? 12 to me, with only 3 runes. So yeah. Yeah, so that is pretty much it. Thank you all so much. Actually, no. Changes. I forgot about the formula. First, Volibear. This can go. Let's go to body. Where are you? This guy is probably better. Yeah, shield 3 with tank, and then when an opponent moves to another battlefield other than mine, draw 1. So yeah, this is probably much better in my champion zone. These are all buff stuff. Yeah, it's all buff stuff. Yeah, because you know I'm married to the dragons at this point, I'm not gonna make any more changes. This is as best as it's gonna get, I think. This card is actually just really good in Volibear. It's 7/6. When you play me, channel 1 rune, and he doesn't recycle, so your Volibear will trigger, so you just channel 2 runes while playing a 6-minded unit. So that's just really strong, but not a dragon, so didn't throw him in. Also, a mighted card that can get ganking, but is more of a buff synergy card than anything else. Let's see. Is there anything that I would really want though? It's ready's a unit. It's not bad. For 2, ready a unit for 2. That's not bad, but that's essentially a confront without the draw. This could be cool though. No, let me not overcook. Let me just think. I think this deck is it's doing exactly what it wants to do. Get some dragons out. So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching this little dragon project of mine. Like I said, really hope for more dragons in the next set. But until next time, remember to support your local card shops, and goodbye.